Good morning. It's Monday morning, and he's here bringing the hell out of everybody to get us all going.
Yeah. Good day, everybody. Bonjour. Sayonara. Hello. Top of the morning to you.
Absolutely.
And here we are on Teddy's People with my mentor and station principal, Mr. Keiith Hayes. And we're getting to part 4 of his story now. We left him at Routers last week, didn't we?
We did indeed.
We did, and that's before his Russian adventure coming up, which we'll tell you all about. And of course, a very auspicious weekend for yourself, Keiith, with your daughter coming over, Tracy.
Yeah, indeed.
Very, very nice young lady.
Yes,
Very nice
I think so. And she surprised me by bringing her son, or one of her sons, with her.
I thought it was her other half.
Sorry?
I thought it was her other half. Just me being facetious as usual. Here we go.
My grandson, who is an interesting young man because he teaches people who have had some difficulty in their lives, or have some difficulty in learning, and so on and so forth, trying to bring them back to lead useful and lives that make them feel good.
So to bring them back into the mainstream of society.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He enjoys it very much. So it was good to see him. And we had a very nice meal yesterday at
The Black Horse?
No, we were too late for the Black Horse. It was sort of around tea time, 5 o'clock-ish, at Keiith.
Oh, really?
On the high street. And I have to say, the food was very, very good. I quite like, because of my peculiar diseases and so on, I have a strange appetite. So I asked if I could have 3 starters instead of a main course. Said, yes, of course, sir. And they served out 3 starters to me, and they were all very good. You know, sometimes you can go into a restaurant and you look and there's nothing on the menu. Other times, yesterday, there were at least 10 things that I would have liked. So I would recommend Coach to you. It's still a good restaurant.
And my viewers, of course.
Yes, indeed.
And my viewers. So we won't be doing Pub of the Week this week. We'll be doing Eatery of the Week. And the man, he eats out. You know, I don't eat out, to be honest with you. I put up with my own cooking and dog's dinner. So I'm more than happy. But this is a man with refinery and taste, even at his old age. So there you go, yourself. I love you, Keiith. Yeah, but it's lovely, delightful to meet Tracy, and of course the child, the grandson.
Yes, I'm having my
and of course,
Parkinson's moment.
Yeah. They came out and of course Tracy told me she came into Bristol and they drove here, didn't they?
That's right. She flew from Belfast
to
Bristol, met up with her son, who lives very close to the gorge. You know, where the bridge is, suspension bridges.
Oh, right. Yes.
Beautiful country. Anyway, they got into his little car and off they toddled and drove down here. Arrived late afternoon and
surprised you.
And surprised me.
That was Tracy's idea. She was telling me, showing her where to go on the way up when I let her in yesterday.
Yes.
And yes, indeed.
Anyway, it worked for them. They got here. Delighted to do so. He hadn't been here before. she had a couple of times. And the other thing is, Tracy had said to her son, "You understand B&Bs, find one." And he did it on price, not knowing the region, and they ended up in New Haven. So I shall...
Blimey.
I shall...
New Haven.
With some interest, when I meet up with them today,
yeah,
find out what the New Haven bed and breakfast scene is like.
Well, I have to be careful here because our station is going to be making a push and pushing Mirador over the coming months. So I better be careful what I say about New Haven, having spent a couple of years there living myself.
Yeah, well, I've lived there for a couple of months.
Yeah, I've got to say, and it's just as well it is getting a facelift now, and they're working on the town centre. So they are. Lewes District Council is putting a lot of work into New Haven to make it feel like a port town, because you know, to have a major port there, and around it up to a couple of years ago there was nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
The high street was shut down.
Yeah, it was a miserable bloody place.
And the three pubs there they were roughhouses. And they're some of the only pubs I've turned down living in Sussex to DJ at, because of you know, sort of, they didn't have the first thing about security. And so anyway, let's move on, get back to you. Now, we found you in Reuters,
right, in the year 2000.
Yeah.
I reached the magic age of retirement, and was politely asked if I would move my bum somewhere else. And actually, very interesting, because for those 10 years, I had been co-anchor with Melissa Conti, who appears on Mirador and is going to appear on your Mirador.
Marvelous.
And a very talented lady. And I was asking, actually, she and Connor, because Connor is her son. They both are in a choir that regularly sings at Carnegie Hall.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they are talented people, very talented people. But anyway, Melissa and I have been co-anchor of this coast-to-coast business program, garnered about 8 to 10 million people each morning, which would put us about number 3 here in the United Kingdom. I think we were about number 20 in the United States, because
well, it's a much
huge
bigger country.
Audience, yeah.
A much bigger country, and people didn't realise the genius they had on their airwaves. Obviously.
Well, I mean, that is, of course. But that program, as I left Reuters and said goodbye to everybody, including Melissa, that program also drew to a close. So it was the end of a decade of really very exciting broadcasting, which, you know, normally you think, oh my God, I still wish I was there. But neither of us wished we were there, because the program came to an end.
Yeah. Well, and I bet that 10 years, though, whizzed by, didn't it?
Oh, it did.
Because we're having a similar conversation yesterday, weren't we, yesterday afternoon?
That's right.
And like 5 months since I made my debut on Mirador.
Somebody told you how long you'd been on.
Yeah. I can't believe it, 5 months.
Yeah.
The public have had to put up with me. and I'm not going anywhere, because I'm still a young man.
Well,
in my head,
if I may publicly say that you're a great addition to, because he was not a broadcaster. 6 months ago, he was not a broadcaster. And as we all do,
still not.
I said, oh, come on, Teddy. It's about time that you did something like this. And now you can't prize him loose. He just loves it.
Like a man possessed.
And he's taken to it like a duck takes to water.
Well, yeah. Hey, look, can we get back to you? Stop building me up, please. Put too much expectation on the weight of my shoulders. So anyway, from there, and saying goodbye to Melissa for the time being.
For the time being, I had in parallel with my work at Reuters proper, I'd done a lot of work for a lady called Jo Weir, a Canadian lady living over here, and who headed up something called the Reuters Foundation. And the Reuters Foundation had a very, very extensive training program. But until we appeared on the scene, Reuters had been very newspaper and text oriented. So its entire training program was for print journalists, for newspaper people, and magazine people, and so on. And one day, Jo appeared in the corridor and buttonholed me and said, "Somebody has told me you're a very experienced broadcaster." So I said, "Well, you do." And she said, I'm with the Reuters Foundation. We now need to move into television or adopt television. Could you...
Now, before we get any further then, so what was the foundation actually? Was it a collection of ex-Reuters people? Or?
It was directly part of the Reuters empire.
So that includes all the personnel?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. It
was run by about 5 people.
Yeah, just for the viewers, just to keep them up where we are.
But being part of Reuters, of course, you had an extensive budget. So I said, yes, I'll devise a program for you.
Yeah.
Not taking it terribly seriously, because we were busy setting up everything to help Reuters, including a book by me to help Reuters journalists, who are all print journalists, adopt to television.
Ah, right.
And it's two very different animals, as you'll appreciate now.
Yeah, to make the transition, it is sort of like you write a sports report, but actually putting it over to people watching your show, you have to be pretty adaptable.
That's right.
And of course, imaginative as well, up to a point.
And everything was done to script in those days. Scripts were totally different.
Oh.
Totally different for television than they were for newspapers and for wire service operations. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And the next thing I knew was, I'm trying to remember where the first place was to go. I think it was Serbia. They sort of, Jo Weir said to me, "Oh, next Tuesday, we're off to Belgrade. We've got a week's training there. Will you pack your bag and join us?" So I found myself on a plane on the way to Belgrade to retrain some journalists in Serbia. And one of the interesting things that happened there, Teddy, was because the whole of the Balkans had been very carefully nurtured, on its own with as a collective. They hadn't expanded or developed quite the way that we had. So I went in first to one of their studios, and here was the guy with the razor and the little block, cutting up tape and sticking it together.
Splicing it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what they call it, I think.
Which we'd stopped doing 10 years before. And he sort of apologized, and I said, "Look, don't apologize. We've got to take you forward in terms of skills, but don't forget those skills."
No.
Because, during the 7 Days War in the Gulf, they found that they were in the middle of the desert with no way of sending the report back. And I said, they couldn't even put programs together. I said, you could have.
Because you had the skill.
The old skills, yeah, that's right.
I've got to say, that sounds like a major. Now I'm involved in TV, trying to splice something together. That must be a hell of a skill to be able to do, surely.
Indeed, it is.
Because I would imagine it means actually looking at a piece of tape and knowing exactly where you are, what you're looking at.
Yeah, well, quite often you have to go and listen to, right, that's it. You have to mark it with a yellow, I forget what the pencil was called. You mark it,
Like
chronograph pencil.
Yeah.
Lay it on a block, which had got a little slit in it. You took a razor blade and you sliced through it. And then where you wanted to come out, you did the same thing.
Yeah.
Marked it with the yellow chronograph, slice it again, put the two ends together, and then there were the rolls of special tape that you laid across it. And that did the trick. It was very cumbersome and very time consuming. And
did you ever do any yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was taught on that stuff.
You see, that's
I'm old enough.
Yeah. And it's actually amazing that you got to retirement age and you went for a training course. You know? And it just shows that, again, to anyone watching, that, you know, if you're retirement age and you can still do something, why the hell stop?
Oh, you're absolutely right. And to be quite honest with you, I watch the what I would call the adult television, BBC and ITN, and I shrivel because it's obvious that these people have not been through proper training.
Really?
Oh, I mean, the standard presentation, just awful. Just awful. They haven't been trained.
Well,
and I'm a great believer in ongoing training. Not just in broadcasting, in everything. Keep the training up. The funny thing is, times of economic stress, the first thing to go out of the budget is training. So what you do is you lower the standard of the goods while trying to rebuild your business, and it's crazy. It's
well, of course, then there's an old saying in sport: prepare to fail, fail to prepare. It's a very good sporting. It's what Sussex cricket Peter Moore used to use. You say, fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Yeah.
And it's very true. And it sums up exactly what you're saying about. The thing is, you can't, in any job, trim budgets and knock off certain parts of it, because preparation is everything.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and I'm sure, I don't know what newscasters do. I obviously watch GB News a lot, and it strikes me that there's a certain amount of freedom with GB News, that the presenters go off pack, and you can tell. Yeah. I can tell now, you know, to be honest, and I'm in no way ever will be up to the standard of those people.
Well, you know, Teddy, don't put yourself down. I mean, first of all, you've had a bit of training from the master himself.
Yeah.
But
that's not decline your training, by the way.
No. But some people are natural broadcasters, and you're a natural broadcaster.
God.
Well,
God help us.
The mantra in our business is, do you speak to the viewer as if they're in the same room with you? And there was a Canadian broadcaster called Lloyd Robertson, who used to do the 9 o'clock news. Now in Canada, the 9 o'clock news would come in stages across the country, because it's got 5 time zones. It's
of course, time zones changing. Yeah.
But anyway, Lloyd got a note from a little old lady well, she's old, but a lady on the prairies where people are isolated from their neighbours by, 100 acres, 200 acres of land.
Really?
And it said, Dear Mr. Robertson, Dad and I watch your newscasts every night at 9 o'clock, and we think you do a marvellous job. But we argue. Dad says you can't see us. I say you can. Which obviously is right, she asked. But the point is, the fact that she thought it was a two-way one, it told us just how good a job he was doing in communicating with his viewers. And if everybody met that standard, then it would be much better. But today, if anything, they push you out. We're part of a unique little circle. Oh, we do this and we do that. The rest of you sit back and put your hands up in awe.
Yeah.
Bugger off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Not a bit interested. 999 is on the next channel. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't know how. If you'd have said to me, "There's a script," I would have said thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I, for one thing, I'm no good at reading. On a serious note, to actually do a program, look at the camera, and actually take a script. I can see why on TV, on the likes of ITV and BBC and Sky, they've probably got auto-cue coming up on a screen. So that means that you keep your head high, look at the screen, and in the background is the auto-cue with what you've got to say. But then discipline-wise, I've never been any good discipline-wise. So hence, your grandson who's doing the bringing people out of themselves, I'm sure that my dad would have got someone like that involved for me because he knew how scatty I was. But it wouldn't have made any difference. It wouldn't have made any difference. So anyway, there you were.
Then I was on the plane to Belgrade.
To Belgrade.
And we had a very successful 4 or 5 days there. I very much got the taste for working overseas. I'd done some, and of course I'd been 15 years in Northern Ireland.
And of course you started your journey in Canada.
That's right.
All those years ago.
Yeah.
During the war.
But now it really stepped up because I would do a month here and a month there, and so on, which I did probably for about a year. I was into Romania in just months after Ceausescu was assassinated. It was fascinating. I wasn't in the main cities. I was up in a place called Silvery, up in the Transylvanian mountains. And it's funny because you stay in the hotel. Once again, I may say, this is where I started to find out that I wasn't a bad
broadcaster.
Trainer and broadcaster. I could pass my my skills on. But every night, the cabaret act, an aging couple of musicians with a lady. And every night it started the same thing. Da 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 da. I got to the point where if they didn't do it, I got very disappointed.
Yeah. And you didn't do it yourself.
But it was there that I discovered that, to this day, I am not terribly fond of Romanians. And that Ceausescu, they'd learned to become very selfish. And it was a question of self survival.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that to some extent. But they are quite inward-looking people. But I decided to just semi-climb the mountain outside the hotel. And halfway up, I found a lovely place to stop and rest. And there was a family there having a picnic. And they said, "Hey, please come and join our picnic." And they gave me sandwiches and coffee and so on and so forth.
Lovely.
And chatted about, do be careful because there are bears around. Never occurred to me that there might be bears in Romania. But of course, I got used to bears in the wild in Canada. So I sort of said, "Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Damn me. On the way down, didn't I bump into a bear?"
Really?
Yeah. But really, Teddy, it's not being brave, it's being practical. You look at the bear, has it got a hump behind its neck? And if it hasn't, what you do is you go, shoo, shoo. And 9 times out of 10, it will shoo. If it's a grizzly, which is the one with the hump, he comes and has you for lunch.
Blimey.
But they were very kind and very nice. And the people I was training were very receptive because they'd been, Ceausescu, as a communicator, you'll appreciate this. He successfully cut off Romania from the outside world. They didn't know what was going on internationally, and we didn't know what was going on internally. And this one lady who was in her 40s had shocking pink hair. And, it just didn't sit with a 40-year-old lady. I said, nice hair. And she looked at me and said, "No, it's not." But she said, "This is the way the dissidents made themselves known to other dissidents because the Ceausescu people didn't understand what might be called modern trends. So they just thought that we were following a modern trend, when in fact what we were doing, we were communicating with one another. I'm against the regime, are you?" Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, so it's a brother or sister in arms.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
But there are two things that I found in Bucharest. One was a Church of England church with 2 priests and
Really?
Yeah, it
Must have been pretty unique.
Absolutely, but it had a congregation of 100, 110, 120 each Sunday. And cheap lobster.
Lobster?
Yes. I used to go to the hotels where they put brunch, something which you've been organising with.
Brunch. Yeah.
And the brunch always had a choice of lobster, crayfish, a whole range of seafood. Absolutely marvelous, and a one. I think it was 10 quid.
So you
saw a lot of money there.
Yeah, you saw it and eat it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But other than that, I didn't care for Romania, and my wife came and visited me when I was because I went back out later for a year-long stint, and my wife came out to visit me. And she was very perceptive because by this time she was going in, to the various countries that I was in. And she said, "Don't invite me back here."
So
I don't like it. One was a bit rude, selfish, and in fact,
apart from the family you met on the mountain.
Out in the country, they were delightful. In the towns, and I always said, you could tell their mental attitude because at the junctions, the road junction like that, when the lights changed, they'd all try to get through on the amber and create traffic jams because I must get that last little,
this city mentality.
Yeah,
this city mentality that we have.
But also up in the mountains, in the Transylvanian mountains, I went on a side mission with a colleague, and we stayed in the Gatehouse Hotel of King Carol's Castle, which is it wasn't built until the 1800s, but it was everything that you've ever seen in a fairy book. You know?
Really?
Yeah, and in perfect condition, absolutely perfect condition.
And by then, of course, I know you're great interest in history. So to see something like that from your perspective must have been.
Oh, it was a thrill. Yeah,
must have been wonderful.
But there were two things I learned there as an international traveller. Take your own plug for the sink, because the water was hot, the rooms were huge, wonderful furniture and so on and so forth, but no stopper for the sink. So when you came to shave, the water disappeared.
So are they standard? They're all sink standards throughout the world then,
or
do you have to take a selection?
A golf ball will do it.
Good idea. That's a good idea, golf ball guy. So everyone watching, take a golf ball with you.
Absolutely.
And it's always handy as well when you're outside if you can get hold of a club.
But the other thing that was absolutely marvellous, and I'm sure that it doesn't exist today, but we went down for breakfast, and it was in this huge anteroom, and on the table were great pots of caviar. And I was so taken aback. I said to the I can't remember the waiter or waitress, but I said, "Is that included?" Well, of course, sir. Yeah. The only other place that I'd ever done was in my very first visit to Moscow, which was way back in 1975. Same thing, in the in-tourist hotel, pots of caviar. Much as if you got pots of jam at breakfast. Yeah. And you just lash it onto the toast and the bread.
Mind you, I suppose you're in the area where caviar is fairly commonplace, aren't you?
Yes.
Around the Soviet bloc.
Sturgeon out of the rivers and so on.
Because really, Russia only down the road, so like I would imagine that it's fairly easily available.
Yes, you're quite right. But to us, you know, that was when you think that in the supermarket a little jar like that will cost you $5.
I've got to say, I've never eaten caviar.
Have you not?
No.
It's got a sort of a salty taste.
Yeah, yes, I'm led to believe, but I've just never had.
Well, I got used to it as a 21, 22-year-old university student because I was taken in by. I say taken in. I became associated with a very old Vancouver family who went back sort of 200 years in their
lifespan as a family.
So you know, it was a very interesting way of life. And Nana Bell Irving, as she was known, would have a Christmas party to end all Christmas parties, believe me. But she always used to start it with a boiled egg cut in half and caviar on top.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a very interesting way of eating caviar. Try it sometime.
Bear that in mind. Yeah, boiled egg. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Bucharest. The other thing that was nice about that city was there was a park bang in the middle, and it really was nice to wander the park in absolute safety. And there was a lake, and on the edge of the lake there were 2 or 3 what I would call boathouses, but in fact they were restaurants.
Yeah.
And you could get a very nice meal sitting and watching the. I mean, you could actually go boating on the lake. I never did, but I wish sometimes I had. But to watch Romanians at play, as it were, is very interesting. But anyway, that was one of my first tastes is Belgrade and Bucharest. After that, I went back to Belgrade several times. And that's where I got a bit uptight, wondering whether I was going to be shot, because there was a man who, by our standards, I don't think would be considered a mafia, but by theirs, he most certainly was. He owned banks.
Oh, yeah.
And lumber mills and you name
the Belgrade equivalent of the mafia.
Yes.
Right.
And there was a very strict code in Serbia. You don't get into politics if you're a businessman, and we will leave you alone to do whatever you want, fairly unregulated, if you do leave us alone. And Bogaloo, as his name was, had crossed the line. He formed his own political party. I mean, he now lives in northern Cyprus. I mean, they showed the power of politics in Serbia. But I stayed in what he tried to set up as a London-type club in the middle of Belgrade. And, so I had a driver at my disposal, smoked glass and so on and so forth. And of course, both the politicians and his rivals had got these things targeted. And every time he pulled up at a light, I kept on thinking, somebody's going to turn up on a motorbike.
Yeah,
the way they did it in Northern Ireland, bang,
Bang. Gotcha.
So your heart would go.
Especially if you're in the car with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't mistake me for him.
But it was very interesting because he wanted to save his television stations. He understood their significance and their importance. And his children just wanted somewhere to broadcast for their own egos.
Very cool.
And I said to them, look, if we don't do this, and this, you're going to lose the license. Because, look, here's what the government is saying, and they're targeting you anyway. No, they wouldn't listen.
What, the government and the mafia?
Well,
were they part of the same thing?
Yes.
They were.
You don't divide the words.
Yeah, I was going to say, because from what I understand, I've got a friend that goes out to Belgrade. His wife is Russian, and he leaves in Belgrade and stays at Belgrade. So I'm aware of that. Even now, there is tensions in certain aspects, because my friend Jerry, his wife Marina, lovely lady, but she's still got family in Russia, and of course she goes, because it's one of the few places you can get direct to Russia to, Belgrade.
Yes, that's right.
So I know that from what Jerry says, that sort of you don't, as a British man, you try and keep a low profile. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so they were part the same. The mafia and the government were all connected because of at the top, of course, backhanders and sort of like it goes on. Let's be honest, it goes on in politics, even in the West.
Well, the same rules in many ways applied right throughout the Balkans, because Tito did a remarkable job putting together all these various countries under the title of Yugoslavia.
I would have loved to met him, actually.
I would too.
To get all the factions in talking. I mean, we saw it in this country with Northern Ireland, didn't we? That it very, very difficult. Different factions, different beliefs, different driving forces, to actually bring people and marry them up and cut through their differences and find a common goal. Yeah,
I mean, he was very skillful in that regard. But he also took Teddy Roosevelt's philosophy, speak quietly, but walk with a big stick.
Yeah.
Because on the odd occasion, if you didn't agree with it, your fingers got chopped off.
I always likened him to a salesman, Tito, to convince people, which is especially that's what a salesperson does.
Yeah.
Especially door to door. You know, you convince the person that it's right for them, and to get a group of people, he must have been a hell of a salesman.
Yes.
Did you ever meet him? You didn't.
No. He'd gone well before I went to the Balkans. I mean, I met many politicians and strongmen, and for that matter, I was watching a program at sort of 3 in the morning or something the other morning, and it was taking a look at places like Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and so on. And one of the people that I also did a bit of work for, and because I if people aren't killing people, it doesn't bother me if I do work for them. Was the man who actually rebuilt the capital of Kazakhstan. It was rebuilt, totally rebuilt.
Really?
And he rebuilt it, made a fortune out of it, absolute fortune.
And he was a politician.
No, but he knew how to get the politicians. I stayed at his place in Switzerland for a little while, and he sent a note down saying, "Would you please join us for dinner tonight?" There were 3 Duma, which is the Russian House of Commons, if you like, 3 Duma politicians at that dinner.
Really? And that's a Russian politician.
Yeah. I mean, this guy was actually an Albanian.
And who was running Russia at the time? Was that Yeltsin?
It was post Yeltsin. It would have been 2000 or thereabouts.
Because Gorbachev had gone in the 90s, and then Yeltsin, if I remember right, followed him.
Yeah.
So would that have been a young Vladimir Putin?
It would have probably been. I think it was a troubled period where it all
where there was
changed,
an interim,
almost on a weekly basis.
Interim sort of leader of the Communist Party. That before Putin
and then Putin came on the scene.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Again, just for the viewers to keep them in on our track, so to speak.
So anyway, that was my first flirtation, if you like, with the Balkans, and then I did a couple of jobs in Hungary and the Czech Republic, and actually in
Ukraine.
Lithuania.
Lithuania.
Yeah. That's another interesting story, but just for the moment we'll park that one.
What's that?
Well, it takes us away from mainstream.
Right, okay. So keep you on the track.
Yeah. And I came home one night, and I'd been courted by a group in Atlanta, in Georgia, in the States, to go up and head up their television operation because they wanted a business television operation tied to the markets.
Something like the routers.
A bit like that. A much smaller scale, but
obviously.
Yeah, but
every company's got to start somewhere.
But these people, whether it's because they were in Atlanta or why, equated a pound with a dollar. So if in those days they were offering $12,000 a year, it was $12,000, which actually transferred to something like 9,500 quid.
Yeah.
You just lost it in the translation, as it were. So I wasn't terribly keen because if they got that level of knowledge, I was worried about what interference you might get if you were a chief executive of an operation like that. And she said, "Oh, an American called And I told him that you would be home, at 5 o'clock, and he said he would call back. And I said, "Oh, it's those bloody Americans again." I can't seem to get through to them that a pound is not a dollar.
No.
So anyway, the phone rang, and I picked it up, and this chap said, "Hi, Mr. Hayes. I understand that you want to go to Kosovo." I said, "I do."
Really?
Yeah. No, I hadn't been to Kosovo, but I heard a lot about it because the Serbs thought they were subhumans living in Kosovo. And
They're neighbours.
Yes, well, more or less, yes. Certainly part of the Balkan 10.
Yeah.
And I'd heard quite a bit about it from a colleague who had spent a couple of years there. So I said, "Oh, I'll chat." And he said, "We're looking for what we call a chief of party, for a chief of party, they call it, a COT. It was the head honcho, that's it.
Oh, right. Okay.
For our program of putting Kosovo's media back together. And you're a Balkan expert, as it were. You've been there several times. Are you interested?" So I said, "Yeah." And he said, just basically, so that you understand what we're talking about, this is what we're offering in terms of the salary, and these are the perks. Blah, 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 blah. I put the phone down. I went downstairs to my wife and I said, "We've got to rethink this." Yeah.
And the other thing that amazes me, your wife stayed true to you all those years when you were literally an early globetrotter, weren't you?
Yeah, I was indeed, yeah.
You were one of the first, I would imagine, in media that was original pioneer.
Indeed, I was. In a number of areas, I was.
And you never found a pie in your ear.
But yes, my wife was very understanding, and
she was. And did you ever stray?
Oh, what sort of question is that?
I know. It's a cheeky one.
Well,
no,
actually, it doesn't mean to say that you didn't have a bit of an eye for a lovely lady.
Oh, I know you have. Still,
yeah, but you have to be very careful on these missions, because you get entangled, as indeed some people did, with a local lady, and 9 times out of 10 she would come from a good family or from a political family or whatever. You started a complication which got totally out of hand. So I kept it at a distance. But my wife would come out to visit me, as she did in Kosovo and Romania and so on. And she certainly enjoyed her 2 or 3 weeks there and made herself very useful. I mean, out of this conversation that I just told you about, I did end up for 2.5 years in Kosovo, in Pristina. And Valerie came out there, and the first thing that she did was, I went to the American embassy, and I said, "Listen, my wife is coming out. She's an accountant. So she was actually a very good bookkeeper. She wasn't a qualified accountant. Could I get her at no cost? No, we won't put her on the budget, and sort out the mess, the financial mess that you've got in your office down the road." And they said, "Oh, we welcome you. You can put her on the payroll. Pay her while she's here. Get it sorted," which she did. Because when I went there, this guy who's in charge of the funds, $6.5 million, right? He's in charge of $6.5 million, and he wore those military trousers, with pockets down there.
Oh, right, yeah, the early cargo trousers.
That's right, yeah. And he kept a bunch of cash here, and moved it to there, to there, depending on what it was supposed to be doing. and nobody knew. They didn't know what they were spending or where it was going, or
What pocket was the petty cash?
I didn't ask. But I said, look, Valerie, take a look at this. This can't go on. So she, in no time flat, she got a system going and so on.
And he went to wearing normal trousers.
Yes, absolutely. But the one thing that I regret is that as a result of my actions, this guy lost his job. And I felt very, very guilty about that. But if they'd have carried on, there would have been an international financial scandal. It would have gone to the House of Representatives.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would have been big news.
Absolutely. And I didn't want to be in the middle of that sort of mess.
No, and you wouldn't want to be associated with it.
So here we were. My wife was going home. We lost the guy who did the trouser transfer, and I put out an ad, what we needed. But I had a very good second in command, a guy called David Bellin, who became a friend. And I said to David, look, we're going to have 30 or 40 applications of this. I wasn't far off. Will you do the initial thing and sort it out to about 10? And which he did over a couple of weeks. And he said, there's one outstanding candidate, but I don't know whether, you would get on with her because she's very outspoken. So I said, well, let's give her a try. So this lady came in, and her name was Lena, and she sat down, and I only asked 2 questions, and she more or less turned around and said, "I'm not one, I'll sort you out." And I thought, oh, this is what I need.
Yeah, exactly.
Her name was Lena Ukella. She joined me. She got the thing working very, very, very well. She knew what could go into the books and what couldn't. And always we harmed a little bit off because we used to have regular parties. And also USAs who were funding it wouldn't pay for phone calls home. Well, when you're away like that, you need to phone.
Of course you do,
yeah. So I was phoning on a daily basis. And she said, "Oh, no, don't worry, I've hidden it." And USA is funny too because they change very rapidly. Some people you get along with. I've got a couple of ambassadors, American ambassadors, that are still friends from that, and I got a couple that think that I'm a walking devil, But she managed to get things into a situation where I didn't have to worry. I just said, "Lena, sort it out."
And she did.
And she did. And the other thing, I tell you, these are sort of red herrings, I suppose, but Kosovo is a very male-oriented society. 4 people would apply for a job. 3 of them men, 1 a woman. You could guarantee that the job would go to 1 of the men.
Mm.
And I said, no, we're going to become a meritocracy. Whoever is best for the job gets it. And when I left, we had a staff of 22, 17 of them were women. And it was a smooth running operation. It really was a good operation. So I was very proud of that.
Well, actually, I do think, certainly where we live, there are more female entrepreneurs in Lewis than anywhere else in Sussex. In my experience of living here 2 or 3 years now, that most of the retail in Lewis is female. And you know what? And I think that's true. And they genuinely seem more astute than the male,
Well, I didn't I didn't make any. Sex was sex wasn't important.
I wouldn't say that.
The gender was not important.
No, well, that's it. Yeah, definitely.
I just went on meritocracy.
Yeah.
And the better people available were ladies.
Yeah.
And they went on to bigger things. I mean, Lena is now in Germany and a very successful accountant. One of the ladies who was my media law advisor eventually became head of the whole media commission in Kosovo. Is one of the men, Behar, is a senior PR man for the Czech embassy. I mean, they went on to bigger things because of their ability. And I was very, very pleased that I made that.
How does it feel that you've driven that forward through your time out there? You must be very proud of that.
Well, I feel satisfied that I wasn't wasting government money. I was taking things forward. And to my crying shame, I never spoke out, because there are some dickheads in our embassy and in the American embassy who really didn't know what it was all about.
But don't you think the people involved in all those organisations where you took them forward by employing females, don't you think those you set the precedent there that's probably carried on?
Yes, hopefully. I mean,
surely, well, otherwise, what would be? Otherwise, it's an insult to females that wouldn't be carried on, you know. And in macho societies, which obviously the Soviet bloc was, you know, I would imagine that you know, and it's good that someone was able to start the revolution for women that must have carried on, I would have thought.
Yes. Actually, I had great support from one American ambassador, Reno Harnish III, who went on from Kosovo, and he was the ambassador to one of the Baltic states, or South Caucasus, Armenia, where I spent a lot of time, Georgia, and one beginning with A. And he went to the one beginning with A. The name just escapes me for a moment.
The ambassador, the name sounds so American.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think? You know,
absolutely.
The third.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of like, and I can imagine that from the Americans I know, that is the psyche. You know, oh well, we call him the third, and you know what? It gives them a touch of grandeur.
It does, actually. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah. I mean, we had while Val was out there, we had a cocktail party in my house. I had a third of the house, and we invited Reno and his wife, and he said, "Oh, we're delighted to come." He said, but a couple of days before, he said there'll be people crawling all over your house, making sure that this, that, the other. You know, no government can be hiding when I come in, and so and sure enough, they did. Oh, they worked that place over. You know. But Valerie had got used to that in Northern Ireland. And on one occasion, we had a room for the media in the Grand Hotel, and I don't know where I was, but Valerie was there, and the MI5 came in, and then they searched the thing, and she said, the one guy said, "There, do you feel safe now?" And she said, "I told him I did until you turned up." But it was much the same sort of thing, you know.
They're talking of that, just changing the subject briefly. A friend of mine who I knew very well when I lived in Hove for 20 years, a ex-police inspector, Brian Palacio, and he started seeing Mila, this lady from Moscow. And anyway, he said to me one night in the pub, he said, I've just bought myself a lordship. I said, what do you mean bought yourself a lordship? He said, well, I'm now Lord of, he said, somewhere unique in Sussex. I said, really? Yeah, he said he paid a couple of £100 for it. So I said, now we have to call you my lord. And he said, I just thought it'd be a laugh. And this is from a retired police inspector. And I said to him, Brian, I didn't think you people had senses of humour. And anyway, and sort of like, so I said to him one week, I said, so when you go over to Mila's place in Moscow, he said, so they know you as Lord? He said, yeah, Lord Palacio of Sussex. And sort of like, and you know what? And he lived this, and he's still seeing Mila now, I believe. You know, so it's just a byproduct of what you're saying.
I mean, it is interesting. If we cast our mind back when I was at Reuters, I covered a story where Lord, and his name will come back to me, just along the coast here, was selling. No, the other way.
Oh, right, the other way.
Yeah, towards Rye.
Towards Rye. Canberra.
Don't think so.
Canberra Sands.
No. It is. Where is the pavilion? There's a pavilion.
I know Rye.
Yeah. Well, this side of Rye, that side of Lewis. But anyway, he was selling off without getting rid of the main title. He was selling off earldoms and so on and so forth.
Really?
Yeah, which had been granted during the Norman period, and his family had held, and a piece of paper in a safe and so on and so forth. And he sold them. And you could become a lord for about £500.
You know,
I didn't have £500 at the time.
You know what? I tell you, I just cannot believe that how entrepreneurial British people are. Whoever thought of that?
Yeah.
Selling lordship. I think that's brilliant. That some of my mates in London who were dodgy but perfectly respectable, and that's the sort of stuff that you can do. You know what? It's amazing how people would call it a scam. Of course, a lot of viewers now would call it a scam, but it's a nice sort of scam, I think, if you can buy yourself a title for a few £100 like Brian did.
Yeah.
And I said to him, that's the nearest you'll ever get. He said, that's why I had to have it. And he said when he was a copper, he couldn't do it. But he said, now I'm retired.
Yeah, I can do it, yeah.
And he retired with a very good pension, you know, about 40. So
Delaware.
Sorry?
Delaware.
Lord Delaware.
Ah,
Lord Delaware.
Yeah, and there's a Delaware pavilion.
Really?
Along the coast here.
But very plastic though, weren't he?
No.
Delaware?
No.
That was a plastic product, Delaware.
Ah, right. It is
got to be up in the morning to catch me.
Yeah.
Mr. Hayes, you really have.
But your plastic is pretty good plastic, because Delaware in the States is a whole state.
I know it is.
Right, and
I
it's
know.
named after him, Delaware.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. That's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
In fact, if you want a dodgy company, go to Delaware.
Exactly. Yeah.
And guess which town is in Delaware?
Yeah, I love
Lewis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and don't look at me. I love skullduggery and stuff. I really do. It's always been an interest of mine. But however, I'm not going to go on to it in Teddy's People with the great man, Mr. Keiith Hayes here. I don't want to bring the station down.
Oh dear.
So anyway,
well, I'm just looking at how we have we been on the air 1 hour and 4 minutes?
We have. Indeed.
Goodness gracious me. We haven't even got into Kosovo.
Oh, no, we haven't, no. But we'll save that for next week.
Very well.
All right.
Very well. But I mean, some of the stories that we get into, including yours, are pretty interesting, I think. and that's the main thing. As long as this program is interesting to people,
and it's fun to do.
And he and I are having a good laugh.
Exactly.
As it starts on a Monday.
Exactly.
Who else needs anything more?
Exactly. Yeah. It's the right way to kick stuff off. And actually, while we're on, have you done any more about your walk, your charity walk?
No, I haven't done a thing, but I've been quite busy this past week.
I know you have, yeah.
And then preparing for my daughter arriving.
And of course, he's got a blog coming up.
Yes, indeed. I almost wrote you at 2 o'clock in the morning the other morning because I got up, made myself a cup of coffee and so on. I just flicked on the television out of interest. Guess what they were showing? In the heat of the night.
In the heat of the night.
Which is Sidney Poitier.
Yes.
And Rod Steiger.
Yeah.
And Poitier has been visiting an older aunt or something in one of the southern states. And he gets stuck in the station waiting for the train at 8 o'clock next morning.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Well, if you haven't seen it, it's a powerful, powerful movie because there is a murder while he's in this station, and they pull in anybody with a black face who's out at night, and he gets pulled in. And he says to Rod Steiger, he says, "What do you do?" He said, "Well, I'm a New York City detective." And Steiger calls New York, and he comes back and said, "Oh," he said, but I mean, you know, the approach towards black people in the South doesn't change just because
no.
So he says, "What do I call you?" And Poitier draws himself up and says, "They call me Mr. Tibbs." And it's a very powerful line. In a powerful movie, it's a powerful line. So later on, in the events that we've been talking about in the areas, people found it very difficult with my last name, Hyas, Hoos. They couldn't pronounce it, even though to us it seems fairly simple. So they used to call me Mr. Keiith. So I thought about this line. They call me Mr. Tibbs. So I adopted it. They call me Mr. Keiith.
And people still do, I've noticed.
Yeah, and that's right. Well, it became a bit of a laugh amongst my friends, of course.
Exactly, of course.
But that's what I've called the blog. So keep an eye open for They Call Me Mr. Keiith. It'll be on your screens in the autumn, and is hopefully do some interesting things.
And of course, you've heard it here first on Teddy's People.
Indeed, yeah.
And your walk is still in the planning stage.
Yes.
And what I suggested originally was you should start from the end point. It's far easier.
Start in Ringmer. Yeah.
Yeah, far easier to do it that way than to walk all the way there and then find yourself looking for a bus.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. So if you start from Ringmer, I'm sure we can find someone to drop you off.
For those who are new to Teddy's program, and I know he's increasing audiences all the time, I can't walk. I've got Parkinson's. I have to drag my feet, my legs, wherever I go. Half the time, Teddy is supporting me. People think we're married, but we're not. And
he's not my type.
I said, but before I pay it, I go to the great television studio in the sky.
Not too soon.
Not too soon. I hope to do. I enjoy myself too much. But I would like to do something for charity, and people do these walks. So bearing in mind that I can't walk, I'm going to do a travel, a walk from Lewis East to Lewis West, starting probably in the little church where Mr. Harvard of Harvard University was married to a lady in Ringmer, and I remember her name, Sadler. She was a Sadler in Ringmer. So we'll start in Ringmer and walk our way, and we have no idea how long it's going to take. We haven't tested anything yet. And we'll end at the Amex Stadium in Falmouth. And I don't know how these sponsorships work, but we'll work together as Teddy on making sure that it's a good sponsorship. And with our interest in sport, I have a tendency to think that it would be good if we raise some money for the people who are researching, the footballers who head a ball and get their
with the dementia
scrambled.
Dementia.
So that's what Teddy's talking about. And as we plan it, as we get closer to it, we'll let you know what we're going to do, because we shall do one of those things. It's as you go by, toot your horn. Toot, toot.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
I did look up because I thought that you might ask, because he normally segues into his sports program this morning, and I don't know whether he's going to do that. But if I can just tell you that there is no activity at all in the Northern Hemisphere. The boys are taking a well-earned rest before they start again in September. But the equivalent of our league, if you like, is starting in New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa. And the teams are lined up this Friday, the 30th of July, is when they kick off down there.
And what sport is that?
Rugby union.
I thought it might be rugby. I thought it might be rugby.
I mean, that's the one that you charged me with looking after.
Of course, yes, indeed. Yeah.
So we'll try hard to keep some sort of a view on what's going on down there, because they are good footballers. There's no question. They are very good footballers.
And of course, I intend to start the Mirador Fantasy League, which will be carried on the Sun newspaper, fantasy football, coming up in the next, before the football season starts. As soon as the Sun launch their game, I'll be launching the Mirador League. I'll be giving you a PIN number to enter a team, along with the team name, and you put your team name in, you pick your team from the reservoir of players that are put up by the Sun newspaper, and it's free to enter. And as with the Mirador Balcony in Bloom competition, there's a cup on the way to the winner of
who did win that?
Margaret of Flat 14 here in Lewes on the Cleve Down estate. There was about 16 entries, which were all taken pictures of by myself and Dawn, the estate leader, lovely girl, and it was sent up to our head office, whereby I asked them to pick the winner, as I could hardly devise the competition along with Keiith and pick the winner. So, and with the Fantasy Football League, whoever wins the league outright will either get a trophy or maybe even a gift card of some sort. So, and it's free, and it will be free to enter. And at the same time, I will be doing a roundup, a build up to the kickoff, start going through all the teams on an individual basis about the new players, the managers, if they've changed. And with just as a throwaway mark, I know a lot of Arsenal supporters, but I believe the Arsenal are going to be well short, because all their World Cup players, a couple of them are injured. They've come back injured, and then some of them are taking an extended break because they played something like 90 games last season. Right. So, and my early tip would be they play the promoted champions of the championship from last season, Coventry City, back in the Premier League for the first time since 2001, when Gordon Strachan actually, unfortunately, he he got the team relegated, but he's a brilliant manager for Coventry. He had the entertainers before that, the likes of McAllister in midfield, and Robbie Keane played for them. Absolutely fantastic side, but they were still relegated in 2001, and they'd never been relegated up to that point. They had 40 years when Jimmy Hill took them up in 1966 and 67, and they stayed in the first division, then the Premiership, for 40 years.
Wow, that's a record.
Exactly, and then
good to see them back.
And then 2001 they got relegated. The club got taken over by a bunch of Muppets. Because I was DJing up there at the time, and I wasn't one of the Muppets that took them over. Unfortunately, well beyond my pay grade. And they're DJ, nightclub DJ. So, and basically, Don King, who brought them back, employed Frank Lampard at the start of last season, and Frank Lampard, to his credit, took them up. And of course, they played their first game in the Premiership against Arsenal, and I am predicting a shock result there. Their first game against Arsenal.
Right.
I think they're kicking off the Premier League on the Friday night.
Wow.
So I am predicting a shock result. And remember, you heard it first at Mirador Sport. So, and that's my early... and of course, my proper team, Fulham, who knows? And I always say the start of a football season, as someone that goes, it really is a roller coaster ride being a supporter of a Premier League team.
Yes, it is.
It is. It's up, down, swerve.
This year's hero is next year's villain.
Exactly, yeah. And all sorts of turns in a season. And of course, we have the caretaker manager from the Bernabeu, Real Madrid, last season. He, I think out of 30 odd games, he had a win rate of something like 60%, but they still moved him on at the end of the season to bring Jose Mourinho in. And as I say, I'm waiting for that roller coaster to start. And I should be on the sidelines in the terracing with my mobile Mirador, and I'll be interviewing fellow fans, telling me what they think on the terraces, actual terraces on the night, and it will be broadcast later on.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
So it really is.
Well done, Teddy.
Other stuff I'm doing is I'm still doing the Bobby Moore Challenge, which is the Bobby Moore Challenge is for cancer and cancer research. And I'm saying to people, don't try and find my giving page. If you really want to contribute, just go to the Bobby Moore Fund. It comes up the cancer, and just put in to the cancer fund. It's not about me, it's just me doing, because I've done a lot for charity over the years for prostate cancer and stuff for 25 years. And it's good to put back in. And so hence I've got involved with the Bobby Moore Fund. I'm saying, don't worry about my giving page. I mean, I don't understand it anyway. So
no, normally.
So just put a donation in to the Bobby Moore Fund, blind, and that's all I would say. And I'd say thank you very much, because cancer is the biggest killer, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It is. So you know what? And of course, this gentleman will be raising money for Parkinson's.
Absolutely.
So really, I'll be back on because Keiith is here tomorrow with the Tech Saint.
The Saint, yes.
Tomorrow morning.
Right.
And then I was doing the Wednesday debate this Wednesday, but unfortunately, owing to our local politicians not being interested to come and actually tell us about the plan to reinvigorate, to boost the high street. When everyone uses their high street, whether you do it without thinking about it or whether you do it deliberately, our high streets are badly in need of reinvigoration. And the only people that can do that are our politicians. So that's, you know what?
Well, that's absolutely disgraceful that people elected to represent our people in this, whether it's the town or the district, will not appear. I think you're absolutely corrupt, because you're hiding something. That's what you're doing, is you're hiding something. And if you won't appear on it, I will. And I will take your place and then see what sort of reputation you've got left. This, out of a lifetime of going around various countries, we behave like Kosovo before the war. That's what we behave like. And you think, Keiith, no, you're bloody uncivilized, and because you're not travelled, you don't know. People look at us in Britain and say, oh, I wouldn't want to be like them. Ha, 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 say the politicians. Because you live in a bloody bubble. Get your finger out and start being accountable to the public.
If I can just say, the one party that have been very favourable to myself, I've spoke to their one of their councillors, and that's Mickey on reform, and he's been, and he's forwarded, I forwarded an email to them, and he's also pushing on my behalf. So well say to Mickey, a reform, good on you. Yeah. And I'm hoping, however, that means this week I've put off the debate on Wednesday to next Wednesday. So right. Please.
But that's the only week that we'll give them.
Yeah,
these politicians.
Exactly. And they get
after that, we put words into your mouth. And if you were then say, oh, you can't do that. Yes, we can, because you didn't bother to come and defend yourself or explain yourself or tell us what you're doing, because you're all picking up some sort of income from the opposition. And that's disgraceful if you will not explain yourself to the people. I mean, and we will take an active part in the next election. And God help you after that.
And I will be holding these people to account. I'll be bringing a full list of councillors, which I'm sure that Keiith will be able to put on the screen and say, if you voted for any of this lot, don't do it.
Yes, absolutely.
And ask the question why they won't reinvigorate your high street. Because we need our high streets. We do. You know?
We do.
And definitely. So on that note, really, I think it's a good time to finish this morning. Now, we did have a man called David Rickman coming in, but well, owing to your family over, and plus he likes you, and I want you to be part of the conversation on my extraordinary life stories.
Right. Okay.
So,
sure.
And just lastly, to a couple of neighbours of mine, Tony in Block 2, who has been hospitalised, and of course Bob and Kath. Bob has had to go in for surgery, which hopefully both of them will come out and be their normal selves.
Right.
I know it's difficult when you get over sort of 65, and of course our best wishes, both mine and Keiith's, and all my viewers hopefully send our regards to Bob and Kath, and of course Tony, my ex-neighbour, lovely fella. And just briefly, hello Graham, hello Carly if you're watching this morning, and I'll see you in Brighton soon. All right, so thank you again, Mr. Keiith.
Okay, good to be here, Teddy.
As usual,
and the dynamic. Little pit to all the viewers that have listened to the rubbish that I spout.
And the dynamic duo for Monday are saying it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Wrap. There you go, be a show Tracy that.
Yeah.